Okay, so multiple updates coming out of 49ers training camp. I'll get right into it, starting off with the kicker competition. The kicker competition could potentially be over. The 49ers today released Greg Joseph, who they brought in just a few months ago to compete with Jake Moody during training camp. And the craziest thing about it all is Greg Joseph has actually kicked better than Jake Moody this training camp. He's made 22 of 24 field goal attempts. Jake Moody has only made 21 of 24. So Moody has one less make. Now, is it a significant difference? No, but I think, hearing the reporters talk and things like that, it seemed like Greg Joseph may have had the upper hand in the kicker competition, but instead they released Greg Joseph. And Kyle Shanahan talked about what went into the move of releasing Greg Joseph. And he mentioned that the 49ers are banged up right now. They didn't have enough room on the roster to keep two kickers, which I understand. But very interesting how this has kind of all taken place. He also touched on Jake Moody and said Moody has a lot of talent and has been kicking the ball real well, and hopefully that continues. To me, this seems like they've came together and have kind of agreed that Jake Moody might be the leader in the clubhouse right now to start week one at kicker for the 49ers. However, the kicker competition I don't think is completely over. Depending on how Jake Moody kicks in the preseason will determine if he's going to be the kicker moving forward or not. Matt Mayoko put something out on Twitter and mentioned that, just because the 49ers cut Greg Joseph does not necessarily mean that Moody has this job on lock. If Moody goes out there and struggles during some of these preseason games, they will sign somebody else to start week one for them at kicker. So I wouldn't completely rule the kicker competition over, but I think it does give us an indicator that Moody might be the leader in the clubhouse or is the leader in the clubhouse. Interesting stuff coming out of the kicker competition. Moving on here, the 49ers signed multiple players today. They also waived multiple players, starting with Robbie Chosen. This news dropped yesterday. They signed Robbie Chosen, formerly Robbie Anderson, to a one-year contract. This will be his second stint with the team. With that move, they released veteran wide receiver Marquez Callaway. They also signed cornerback Fabian Moreau, defensive lineman Bradlee Anae and Bruce Hector, safety Jalen Mahoney. They released Jalen Mahoney last week. And they also signed offensive lineman Isaiah Prince, who was formerly of the Bengals. I know he went to college at Ohio State. So they signed all of these guys to one-year deals. Bradlee Anae is actually an edge rusher out of the USFL. He also had a stint with the Dallas Cowboys as well. So those are the latest on the signings. With some of these signings, they released multiple players. Starting with Greg Joseph, of course, who they released today. Quarterback Tanner Mordecai was released. Cornerback Trey Avery. Wide receiver Isaiah Nair was released. That one's more surprising to me. I thought he was having a pretty decent camp for the most part. And they also released tight end Mason Pline. So a lot of transactions today for the 49ers when it comes to waiving players and signing players. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of these signings and the releases in the comments down below. Again, to me, I think the one that stands out is Isaiah Nair. That one kind of came out of nowhere. He was having a good camp. I heard only good things come out of camp from or surrounding Isaiah Nair, but you never know. I mean, this could be a situation too where they released him today and they might sign him either tomorrow or in the next few days, depending on if somebody claims him on waivers, which I would not be shocked. Moving on here, latest on the 49ers injuries. A lot to cover in this one. There's been a lot of banged up players with the 49ers. There's also some good injury news as well, but I'll get into it. Yetur Gross-Matos, who had a knee injury, was seen rehabbing his way back off to the side of the field in practice. So he seems like he's going to be kind of ramping things up soon, getting back in action. Jordan James, rookie running back, was having knee issues. He was back at practice today, looked fine. I'm sure they'll probably keep an eye on him and see how everything goes with the knee. Kevin Givens, defensive tackle, suffered a pec injury, and he's going to be out for a while, according to Kyle Shanahan. That's going to be one to watch. Isaac Guerendo is expected to miss a few weeks with a shoulder injury. That's not good because the 49ers have already been dealing with Jordan James having knee issues, and now Guerendo's having problems. Kyle Juszczyk, he is day-to-day with a cut on his Achilles due to being stepped on in practice. That's an interesting one. I'm sure that hurt like hell, though. Hopefully he's going to be good. Juszczyk's is literally just a cut from what it looks like, so nothing to really be worried about there. Sam Okananu, defensive end, he's expected to miss a couple of weeks due to a groin injury. That's not good. 49ers are getting pretty banged up here on the defensive line. Kyle Shanahan, following Yetur Gross-Matos warming up on the sideline and kind of rehabbing, Shanahan said that he was expected to return during the Raiders week for the preseason. So a couple more weeks for Yetur Gross-Matos, and then he'll be back in action. This one's interesting. Kyle Shanahan was asked if Jauan Jennings' calf injury was definitely health-related and not business-related. Kyle Shanahan replied, "You could ask him that, but he tells me it's his calf. Got to be delicate with those calves." Pretty interesting response from Shanahan there. Could Jauan Jennings be sitting out and kind of milking the injury? I think there's a good chance. Either way, I don't think Jennings' calf injury is anything to be worried about. It just seems like a tweak. I'm sure he'll probably be out for the next couple of days, and then he'll return to action. But that's going to be one to monitor because the response that Shanahan gave was interesting. I mean, somebody asked him about the contract situation and if he really was hurt. And Shanahan literally just said, you could ask him that, but he tells me it's his calf. So that's pretty weird from Shanahan. I don't know. I don't know what to believe with that. I think I do think he probably has a calf injury. There could be a chance that he might just be milking it. It may not be as serious as not practicing. He may just think, you know what? I'm going to milk this thing. Hopefully it gets me closer to that contract. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. The 49ers really need to get on extending Jauan Jennings. That's without a doubt. So that is the latest updates surrounding 49ers training camp. Again, I mean, the kicker competition thing to me is the most surprising, just given how Greg Joseph has made more field goals than Jake Moody has. I don't know. How confident are you guys in Jake Moody for this upcoming NFL season? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm not too confident, but I mean, I do think iron sharpens iron. Maybe him getting you into a competition with Greg Joseph was helpful. I mean, I would like to think it would be helpful. You got to get some competition involved, especially with the kicker competition, and especially given the season that Moody's coming off of. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I mean, the Jennings situation is going to be something to keep an eye out on. There's a lot of things to kind of make sure, or there's a lot of different things we can keep our eye on. Kyle Shanahan, wanted to add this in here at the end of the video. Upton Stout has been phenomenal these last couple of days. Shanahan spoke about Upton Stout today. He said he's made of the right stuff. He's doing everything he can on and off the field, and that's why he's passing guys up. So I've seen some reports saying that Upton Stout likely has already submitted himself as the starting nickel corner going into 2025. I'm super glad to hear that because the 49ers really need corner depth, and hitting on a corner in this draft was crucial. Seems like they have a pretty young prodigy in Upton Stout. Obviously, hopefully he stays healthy and things like that, but he's been performing well. So I'm glad to see that. I know a couple of reporters even mentioned on Twitter, I seen that he might be the best 49ers rookie right now, which is huge because obviously they're very thin at corner right now. Also, Diamador Lenore is back at practice too. I don't think I mentioned that. Diamador Lenore came back to practice today. He was dealing with the hip irritation. So he's back at practice. That's good news. Obviously the 49ers have been extremely thin at corner with Diamador Lenore out. So, and Renardo Green was also dealing with an injury. So he's not back yet. Demo is. That's a good step in the right direction because the 49ers are really thin at corner right now. So that being said, as always, go Niners. Let me know what you guys think of the signings, the players that the 49ers cut. Let me know what you guys think of Isaiah Nair being cut. To me, that one was pretty interesting. And then, of course, let me know your guys' thoughts on the news of the 49ers releasing Greg Joseph as well. Yeah, I mean, again, the kicker competition is not over. Moody still has to go into the preseason and make kicks. But if he struggles in the preseason, the 49ers will very much so sign a veteran guy. Could be Greg Joseph again to come in and start week 1. So we'll see what happens. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. As always, go Niners. I'll see you guys in the next one.